It's good, y'all. Y'all didn't think I was gonna leave y'all, without this incredible project, man. I have to say, goddamn, shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle, DJ Drama, back with another one. Mailbox Money. This shit should be considered an album, So I'm definitely considering this shit to be an album. Uh, in my opinion, he has evolved so much from the Marathon mixtape series, which I thought was incredible. Crenshaw, his last project, I thought that shit was dope as hell as well. He evolved from the Marathon to Crenshaw, but this just shows overall why Nipsey Hussle is one of the best at what he does, man. From the lyrics to the production to his flows, his features. This is the most personal product he's put out, in my personal opinion. He's open in this. He spoke a lot of real shit. Shout out to bro on Twitter. We was chopping it up about this mixtape. He definitely was a little bit more personal, a little bit more open. Um, the marathon series, like I said, was incredible, but this just, goddamn, this took the cake. And shout out to Ryan Leslie, like, you know what I mean. He actually gave Nipsey gave him a shout out at the end of the mixtape. If you listen to it, and if you definitely don't get why he did that, go back with the Breakfast Club and listen to the interview with Ryan Leslie in the Breakfast Club, and you'll see the motto that the clips that inside the mixtape what Nipsey was talking about. You would get more of what he's saying. But man, let's go ahead and get into it, man. 15 tracks of bangers, nothing bad about this product. You know what I mean? The first track, Killer, his song was dope all the way through. I enjoyed his lyrics. I enjoyed, the content, the piano. I love that piano, man. Just the melodic sound of it. I just have an ear for music. And throughout the track, you can just hear, him opening up, and you just know that you're in for a great product, you know, a great listen, a great movement. You know what I'm saying? You just about to hear everything that he been wanting to say that he gonna get off his chest, which he did. Number two, 100 a show featuring Rick Ross. That was dope. I had no problem with it. These are the more songs to where, okay, I'm not gonna say playful records, but just records where he just, showing his skill or whatever. And Ross did what he did to it. I mean, you understand the concept of 100 a show, and definitely he's earned that. Moving on to number three, Status Symbol, featuring Buddy. This is where it picks up with the melodic beats, the mellow feel of the record, the soulfulness of the hooks. And this is where he starts spitting real deep shit, a positive message in his song. If you really didn't listen to it, take a listen to it again, because he definitely speaking some real shit. And they put a clip at the end. This is where you start to pay attention to what he's saying and why he's doing what he's doing. Far as proud to pay, why was his mixtape $100? Why is this one 1,000? You really got to listen to what he's saying. He's giving you a lot of game in this product. Number four, That's How I Knew. Dope beat. I thought that hook was ill. He actually said some more amazing things with this song. With the sample was crazy in a sense. If I can't think of where it came from, but definitely he was more deep with this. And the piano at the end, the way he let that song ride out was just phenomenal. I was like, wow, I am totally impressed by this song. Number five, Count Out the Loot. He does a couple name drops, but he like flips them in a positive way, not a bad way. I thought that was dope. I love the jazzy beat, the feel of the record, his honesty in it. You know what I mean? Count out that loot. It's not basically a song about just money. You got to listen to it, and that's the part where I think a lot of people wouldn't understand the record by the title of the songs. But he definitely was spitting game in this record. I like his flow in that record as well. Number six is where we get to a point where it's like, I get it. It got the LA vibe to it as far as the production. Only a Case featuring G.I. Joe. And you definitely understand what he's saying. Basically, no matter what you do, it's basically a case. Like, if you go pop a nigga, sell drugs, rob, whatever, what have you, it's basically, it is what it is. It's just a case. And to go back to number four, whoever at the end of that, y'all know that the little clip where he let bruh spit, he killed them bars, like in my personal opinion. Um, and basically at number five, the honesty where he says, the beat ain't even mixed, but I'm still killing it. That shit was dope. And number six, like I said, is just basically a lifestyle. You know what I mean? Moving on to number seven, Where Your Money At? Yet again, the beat was like, DJ Mustard, y'all know how I feel about that, but he made up with it as far as the lyrics and the content, so I definitely feel like them was some of the realest lyrics he ever spit, and I feel like he going at somebody but don't know who he really talking about. You could just tell in a lot of these songs he going at somebody, like Where Your Money At, Count the Loot Up, because he mentions, throughout the mixtape where he directing certain things to certain people. So I thought that was like, I wonder who he could be talking about. Moving on to number 8, Between Us featuring K Camp. I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't even know that was K Camp on this song, but I definitely feel like, it's one of the more girl orientated records. Melodic feel to it. Y'all already know the hook was very well produced. I will say that, but he still spoke some real shit. It fit. K Camp really never sounds like himself when he's on the track, whatever that means. Moving on to number 9, Real Nigga Move featuring Don Kennedy. This song was crazy all the way through. The beat was insane. The hook matched the production, and Nipsey and Don Kennedy definitely had vivid lyrics to where you definitely could tell where they was coming from. And it had a great sample at the end of it also. That helps. Number 10, Stay Loyal featuring Jay Stone. Simply a great record, a real song all the way through. A lot of people don't know how to be loyal. And, we go through that ins and out about life, but at the end of the day, you should remain loyal. Number 11, A Miracle. Another song where he spitting game. Beat was hard, real lyrics in there. I like his flow definitely on that song. I thought that his flow was one of the more better flows, that he switched up on this song. And I thought it was dope. You really got to listen to that song for what it's worth. And I thought, sometime in life, a miracle is, warranted. Number 12, No Nigga Like Me featuring Trader Truth. They both murdered that song straight up. That's another song where you listen and it's like, damn, who he talking about? Because it's just not talking in general. And I thought that sample was great. Trader Truth always comes through with a great verse, so you already know what's up with that. But still, at the end of the day, the game that he's spitting and things that he went through throughout his career, you definitely could say out of LA niggas, as far as rappers, it ain't no nigga like Nip. Number 13, 50 niggas. Basically, that song get 3 checks, man. It has to. Just talking about social issues. He breaks down a lot of different topics in that song, and it kind of threw me off for a loop, like, where is he going to go with this? Because if y'all know 50 niggas, AK-47, Tupac, so at the end of the day, I thought that was dope. Great spoken word, talking about a lot of social issues. You listen to that hook, and that hook really opened up your eyes to a lot of shit, to where if the other side, I don't want to make it a race thing, but if they was to go through what we went through, how would they handle it? Like with your kids being gunned down and things of that nature. So I definitely respect that song. Number 14, Be Here for a While featuring Bernardo. To me, this song belonged in a movie, just from the chords and the keys. I just felt like it belonged in a movie. That's just me. But it's a classy like beat. You know what I mean? It's not one of the more trap type up tempo beats. It's like classy. The hook was soulful. You listen to them lyrics and what he's saying. He said a line that really stood out to me and made me think. He said, "Victory Lap is my thriller." You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. That's a Michael Jackson album. That's one of his classic albums. So if this Mailbox Money is dope and we appreciate it and love it, and it's a classic, like, let's not get it fucked up. This tops Crenshaw. If this is great as hell, what is Victory Lap going to sound like if he's comparing to his thriller? So you got to think about that. And I like the instruments in that. Like, I have a different ear for music, so the different instruments I hear on this record is just phenomenal. That's why I said it belonged in a movie. And the last track, Overtime, just basically broke down his whole career from the ins and the outs, the good and the bad. That's what I can just say. And yet another deep song as far as the lyrics. Great instruments on that song as well. I definitely like his flow. It was more, his flow was like slow, but at the same time, he's trying to tell you something without speeding through it. And the beat is like dramatic, and at the end of it all, that clip that was what an excerpt, you could tell come from an interview. He basically breaks down everything as far as why he doing what he doing when it comes to his music. But all the way through, this was another great mixtape, 10 out of 10. I like all 15 records. Production was on point, 10 out of 10. Nipsey definitely did his thing. So happy New Year to y'all. Hope y'all enjoy this review. See y'all next year, and hopefully this will upload before it turn midnight. But if it's midnight, well, I guess this is the first review of 2015. And 9 times 10 it won't be the last. Happy New Year to y'all. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Shout out to everybody that rock with me this year. Hopefully y'all continue to rock with me next year. And that's basically it, man. So at the end of the day, YouTube is great. I appreciate the love I get. And, just looking for better options and better moves to make, I guess a brand more enlightening to other people. But other than that, I see y'all, man. One.